I like to stay low. I bow to what's in my headphones. Chill the night, lay back to this goes. Set my mind on cruise control. Music revolves around my mind like it's an access. Sometimes I'm like this.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Artists Like Us, episode 3. And today we have a special guest here. This is a good friend that my good friend for over 20 years here. And an awesome artist. He's got a lot of dope projects that are out now, more stuff coming out. Of course, we're going to get into it. But without further ado, Space Monk, what is good, my brother?
What's up, my man, Jarrell?
Much,
I love
man.
you, my brother. Yeah, 20 years, man. Met in middle school.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I said this last time I spoke on your podcast, previous one, the Guitar Pod.
Yeah.
And I mentioned how much music you put me up on in middle school.
Oh,
yeah, CDs full, Jimi Hendrix, Boyz II Men.
Yeah. Whole nine, bro. The whole nine. I gotta give a lot of that to my brother too. I took a lot of his shit, when he was he was out and about. I'm, let me check this shit out, So but yeah, bro. So yeah, definitely shout out to my bro. So yeah, I the last thing that you were engaged with was with live music rather. Wanted to make sure that I made it down was you were playing with the Ethio Jazz Quartet. Which is fire, so yeah, definitely, definitely kudos to that and shout out to those brothers. Those guys are pretty serious. So yeah. And I was like, yeah, let me get out there, so made it down there and I didn't realize that the street that it was, on actually has like the literal like historical context of like Ethiopia, you know what I'm saying? So like, sitting with, your sister, and we wait for you to perform, and she was like telling me all this stuff about the street. I was like, dang! And then I saw all like these Ethiopian people out. I was like, wow, this is really beautiful. Tell me a little bit as far as your experience on that. How you felt about that day, and just like, playing more of that music and stuff. Obviously, I'm sure there's a very personal attachment to it.
Man, it was hot that day. First of all, yes to everything that you're saying, but it was very hot. It was a beautiful day. I myself am just shout out to my sister Tana, who was there.
Yeah.
She was actually the one that got me into Ethio Jazz, because at the start of the year 2024, January 1st, it wasn't inside of my bingo for the year.
Okay.
Just to use that. I know everyone's saying bingo, but anyway, wasn't in my bingo. So my sister, she was DJing for this Ethio Jazz night, Honey Baby.
Okay.
Put together by Dinkanesh, one of the homies. She's incredibly talented.
Yeah.
But I was already performing some open mics that she was doing, Zeman nights, with my guitar and singing. And my sister said they were looking to build a band. I'm like, okay, well, I've been playing more bass lately for a church, NDCC at the time.
Nice.
Some friends, they needed some help, so came in, and I just got better at the bass as a result. And then when I just told her, I can do the bass for it. I didn't know if I could do the guitar for it, but I could do the bass for it. I figured it shouldn't be too bad. Flash forward, I start checking out the music 3 days. And like the Sunday before, I was sick the whole week prior to it. And I had another show I was preparing for on Saturday. Yeah. And I had underestimated what was going on. So we get to the Sunday, and I'm realizing I'm not answering your question, but we'll get there. Get to the Sunday.
Sorry, the backstory. I see where you're going with this.
We get to the Sunday, and I'm starting to listen to music, and I'm like, wait a minute. We get to the rehearsal with Robel and Randall, who's a saxophone player in the group, incredibly talented.
Yeah, he's great.
And, really, that's the day I realized, okay, I have to cancel everything. Cancel my hair appointment the next day.
I got those serious though. Yeah. Hey Eugene, there
will be no retwist for this show. So I practiced. Unfortunately, had I not been sick the week prior, I might have canceled.
Oh damn.
I was really thinking, I don't know if I can get it together, but fortunately we did. Thanks to Nadav, the guitarist, Juice on drums, all of them incredibly talented. And from then on, I started studying Ethio Jazz under the guitarist inside the group Nadav. I saw how he played. I said, man, tell me your rate. I want you to teach me.
Right on.
So from then, flash forward, we had our first gig ever since that one at the Ethiopian New Year Festival. So, man, it was a beautiful day, man. It was hot to see my friends, my family. My sister, her boyfriend came. And, feel like I'm rambling now, but Yeah, you know, at that time, one of the things that stuck to me most was when we was playing, just like seeing kids walking by, and I was making like silly faces at them.
Yeah.
We see some of the other performers off to the side. They were like, he was one of the guys. He was really into it.
Oh,
One of
right
the other
on.
performers, and at the end of it, he was like, "You know what? I underestimated you guys."
That's what he said. Oh wow, damn, that's some LA shit, bro. Damn, that's
He
crazy.
might not have said didn't think it was gonna be good, but that's what he was getting off.
Oh
with.
wow. Oh okay. Yeah, you're like, I see what you're saying.
But I didn't take nothing to it because I didn't sense like he was showing so much love the whole time.
Oh good.
Just so I knew exactly where it was coming from. So
Yeah.
the fact we got that cosign, and it was just a beautiful event to be at. So shout out to the organizers of that event and
Yeah.
the Ethiopian New Year.
Definitely. Yeah, it was funny because my my wife and my sister are in town, but I know they're babysitting my nephew and them. And I when I came back, I was like, oh yeah, Ethiopian New Year, and they're like, why didn't you start off with that? Because I was like, oh, you want to see my friend play Ethio jazz? You know, like that's not how I promote it. But then like. You're like, I didn't know it was Ethiopian New Year. I was like, I'm sorry. I said, we'll go with the next one, you know?
Yeah.
But I was like, dang, I should have started off with that. But no, man, I feel like it was like a day of love, if that makes any sense. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like Ethiopian people, it's very loving. You know what I mean? At least it's like what I ascertained, just kind of obviously knowing you, your family, and then obviously, you know, that day was just like, man, it's just like, David, just like a day of love, just people just really enjoying, you know, themselves and culture and stuff, and even seeing like one little girl, like the mom put her little girl on stage and she was getting it, man. Just, I was like, wow, this is dope, you know, like, and I just love that, like, no one's just like, oh, get her on stage, you know, like, no, like, just enjoy it. As long as she's like not gonna fall or nothing, like, yeah, it's fire, you know, like, it was fun.
I'm glad you brought that up, man, because I forgot about these little moments, man. But at stage, I was so hyped when I saw her up there. Like, it was a beautiful experience.
Yeah.
And
No, go ahead.
at first I was like, man, that mom felt really empowered to do that. But I was like, man, this little girl's dance here reminded me of my little sister when she was at that age, my older sister. But it was beautiful, man. And and the fact that it's New Year, a lot of people don't know that. I'm glad you brought that up. Take for granted, you know, Ethiopia right now, I believe it's 2017, if I'm not mistaken. So I think it's about a 8-year difference, but it's a different calendar.
Okay.
And then when you think about it, when we go into our modern calendar system, you have months named after Roman emperors, but we don't need to talk about it. We have this system, you know, that was given to us, that we inherited by the Romans, and then we think about what time is. It's just something that, can you imagine this is the year 2000? This stuff is made up.
Yeah, they're just framing it after, you know, something that isn't really connected to what it really is.
True. I mean, of course, the you know, Jesus after death, but
they just pick a day in the calendar. You know, it's like, yo, because I remember you were saying, you're like, yo, Jesus was born in January, bro. I was like, oh, bet, okay.
Oh man, did I say that?
It was a long time ago.
Man, I think I was watching the Boondocks and they're saying that
something like that,
something to that degree. I was watching the Boondocks, but I wouldn't, you know, I'm not the most aware of that, so I wouldn't
for sure.
say that directly. But I think just overall, you know, just think about we can trace things back to the Romans and the influence today.
For sure.
And if we could talk about it for a moment, I went to another event that Deacon Nesha put on. It was a film festival. She has a group called the Kitfo Entertainment.
Okay.
And they had a film festival, and we saw this film. I wish I remember the filmmaker. He's been doing this for a long, long time. A legendary Ethiopian filmmaker.
Yeah.
His documentary was about World War II and repelling the Romans. I'm sorry, the Italians.
Okay.
As they wanted to reinvigorate their conquest of their previous days. So I bring that up to say is I know we're talking about music, but studying. Things that fascinate me. I was watching this documentary, Rise of the Barbarians.
Yeah.
And it was showing barbarian uprisings against the Romans during that time.
Yeah.
What struck me is that the people that spoke to from the Romans' perspective was like, you know, usually military, U.S. government. They call them like law enforcement, and they would just talk about the genius of it. Now they had genius in what they was doing, but then when you talk about the freedom fighters, that was the barbarians. People that would really be talking from their perspective would be, because, you know, they'd have talking heads in between, like, you know, different individuals. Yeah. And it was, you know, civil rights leaders that was speaking from the perspective of the barbarians. And you kind of see this this interplay of energy from back then and how it continued through history to today. And we don't even think about the Romans. We may have to cut all this stuff out. We can get back to the music.
No. I was letting you cook. I was gonna ask you, kind of going back to where just like everyone's just really just like celebrating, that Ethiopian New Year, and you had such a face of joy, playing. Like, how did you kind of walk me through, like, just like how are you feeling like when you play? Because you seem like really like one of the things I always have an appreciation for. Multiple things, but one of the things I always have an appreciation for being friends with you is seeing when you perform, you always have like a sense of just like joy. You know what I mean? Like I am very much like this shit right. Like I'm very much like I'm like Derek Trucks, for example. I think he's like arguably the best slide guitar player just like of all time, but he's very just like but there's some people that can like they react differently, but how are you feeling at that time when you're performing, man? Because you seem like really just like into it and just like someone watching is like, man, that guy's having a good time, he's killing it too.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Well, shoot, I was, because I was just so happy to be playing up there with such talented guys. The first time we played back in January, I hadn't had that experience before, so when I was up there, I'm like, this is incredible. It was like a drug.
Yeah.
So I just knew I needed that again. Yeah. It was just such a beautiful vibe. So, so leading up, there was a few shows that I was trying to, put together to get us all together, but they fell through. It just wasn't for us. But so to finally be up there again at Ethiopian New Year, I was practicing like maybe, I was counting the days down. I was practicing every day. I had a routine.
There you go.
More than I'd ever had.
Shit.
Yeah. So to have like how it is when you get locked in on something and leading up to it, so when it's finally there and you're playing, it's just great. And obviously the feeling afterwards was just, sort of euphoric to be up there again with doing this Ethio jazz music. It's something that I've gravitated towards so much. Ever since we, I studied it for the show and then after, and shout out to the greats, Mulatu Astake, of course. And I need to study this stuff more. I'm really new at this, so this is all happening in real time for me. So with that comes a level of excitement,
definitely
discovery. So I think that's where I'm at with it.
Definitely. I wanted to talk about just kind of obviously your music, under Space Monk. And the last album that I want to say it was the last album you released, right? Return to Glory. Man, out of the projects you've released, and this is definitely my favorite.
Thank you, man.
It's definitely my favorite. Yeah, no problem. I remember I was hella sick for real, and I remember we were talking and stuff, and you're like, oh yeah, like like if you want to check it out, like let me, like I'll send it to you or whatever, and even though I was sick, I was like listening through, and I was like, bro, this is like my failure music from you. Like I feel like it was like you were able to really express creatively, emotionally, like through that.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Man. Yeah. Now, was that a duration of? And then, just as a heads up, this is available now on your streamers. As far as Spotify, YouTube Music, Apple Music, whatever.
Return number 2, Glory.
There you go. I guess kind of talk to me about just like how you felt working on that album, and like maybe how long it took, and just kind of some of the concepts, things that that led it to what it is.
Mm-hmm. And that was probably the best experience I had making music. And I had moments in the past like God Slam It. God Slam It. That project I put it on.
That's pretty wild too.
Yeah, wow, man, I don't know what I was thinking, but God Slam It. I know why. I won't say.
That's all right.
Yeah,
that's all right.
That period of time I was just anyway. So the reason I bring that up is because that was the first time I was really like felt the experience of just making music, making a song from beginning to end. Yeah. And even though I may not finish it in the night, but I really want to take the football down to the end, and not just to finish it for the sake of finishing it, but how I came to later describe it was take the river to the ocean.
Okay.
You know what I mean? You can almost say it's the ambition of all rivers to return to the sea. So to that, prior to that, it was tough for me to finish songs. So I get into the God Slam It mode, and I'm just I sort of was getting my life together in other aspects, and I would just stay up all night making music, and then I go to work the next day in the evenings tutoring, and I would just feel great. Just it was just a full like a life experience, you know, and you know, making stuff that I never had, just feeling real creative. So, but I don't always feel that way. So flash forward, I might get little sparks and moments, but that was the first time it had happened since then to that degree for me.
Yeah.
So when it happened, I recognized it, that, oh, this thing that's happening. And what preceded that was a whole lot of practice and absorbing just different inspirations, like Prince, not just his music, but him as an individual. I was reading his autobiography, The Beautiful Ones. And so leading into that, you know, these crossroads of happenings mixed with Studio Knockhouse. One of my friends started interning there. Shout out to Richard Wright, who's also on the project.
Nice.
And he started interning there. And then my friend Waju started working there. And we were working on a project, which we still are, coming out soon.
Nice. Shout out to Waju.
Yeah, Better Days. Better Times, sorry. So he started interning there. So from then, Waju had got me in. And prior to that, I was, it was good to get back social again, because we were just getting out the pandemic.
Yeah.
Not just, we was some years out, 2022. So, my first day starting there, before this makes sense, I started there as an intern.
Yeah.
I was working on a lot of music there with Waju. You know, interns were allowed to take advantage of the studio time.
Okay.
And there was a degree of finessing that had to go down, but for the most part, studio wasn't being used. I'm using it.
Right.
So, and I also saw that me and Waju would be working on music. Someone would pop in and say, oh, there's an appointment. Oh, we got to wrap this stuff up. I didn't get to record this idea. Song never happens. So I knew that you had to, it's only yours while it's there. So, so by the time my first shift came in, it's a morning shift, 8 a.m. I think it was, or 7 a.m. And the studio was open. There was a room. I saw the schedule. No one's coming in, so I go straight to there. I go straight to work. I know it's only mine for as long as I have it. And I worked on not Think Like a Fish. That was the second song. Come on now. I wasn't prepared to talk about this. What song was it? It was Too Much Room to Find My Way.
As you look through it, I was gonna say too, to buy some time. One of the things that connected with me too, as far as like the connection of various type of genres too. So it wasn't like, I sensed like the rock notion too, you know, because I remember, you know, the rock notion, the hip hop notion, like the various flows and stuff trying out as well. So like that was really dope too, being able to take all of those different influences that, you know, you like, and then incorporating it in a way that's you. You know, I thought that was one thing. I was just like, oh, this is dope. You know what I mean?
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. You know, to go into that, but first, I don't want to go outside. IDWTGO. Sorry, I don't want to go outside. Track 2 on the project. So I was day one in there, and featuring Richard Wright. He came in later that day, saw what I was working on. He recorded a verse. And then one of the other interns I was working there did some guitar on there. And it was just, it was cool. They kind of saw I was working. I was just really locked in. And that's kind of the flow of the experience of making that project, kind of knowing that just got to get this song to the end, to get this river to the sea. Yeah. Which is why water and rivers and seas is a big motif in the project. But to speak on what you were just saying, Jarrell.
Yeah. The genres.
Oh, the genre bending, yes.
Yeah.
Listening to so much Prince I had seen through his music that rock and R&B was a spectrum. It was a spectrum, because I had listened to songs like this is like an amphitheater rock love making ballad. It was called here, I can't remember nothing right now. Glasses on. It's the one that came in with the drums going crazy, like the bump, 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 bump.
This is a Prince track?
Yeah, it's a Prince one.
Oh shit!
It was called Break It Down. I don't want nobody else to hear the sound.
I think I know what you're talking about. I don't remember.
I think I think the name of the song was like a sound, not even where. Anyway,
is it on the Purple Rain album?
no, it wasn't.
Oh,
was
it's
on,
different album.
I wish my experience of studying Prince and music when I deep dive into artists,
Yeah.
except for Stevie Wonder, or which I kind of understand his discography and records a little bit more.
Yeah.
With Prince, because I had studied a bunch of Stevie Wonder's music, just trying to find new songs from him that I never heard before.
Yeah.
New to me, that was my new favorite song of all time, you know?
Yeah.
And I knew they were out there, so when I deep dive into an artist like Michael Jackson, Jackson 5, and his earlier music,
Yeah.
that's what I'd be searching for. And with Prince, I find that my searching seems to be of no end, because there's always just new songs. So
Sure.
my searching of his music is a little scattered, so I don't recall the name of projects. And this song I should know, but I'm just not in the season of listening to this song. But that song in particular was pivotal to the project.
Nice.
Seeing that rock and R&B is on a spectrum, and that was another by chance happening. I met a friend at a party, and she was showing me some music, and she played Smashing Pumpkins. I think it was, what's it, 1973? You sound bad with that. Is that what it is? Or Tonight, or one of those.
Yeah.
And I used to love alternative rock growing up.
Yeah.
Like around 13, 12, 11. These are the formative times for music. I hear that this is when your sort of emotional part of your brain comes online.
Yeah.
I think they call it the limbic system. Someone, whatever. It comes online. So whatever you were listening to at that time has like a special attachment to you.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, this wasn't all I was listening to, I think. But I was listening to a lot of Blink-182.
Yeah.
Rage Against the Machine was one.
Yeah.
Smashing Pumpkins I liked. And usually what would come on the radio too.
Yeah.
I think I mentioned this last time, so I won't go too far into it. But just was on the radio as far as alternative rock. And coming from the Inland Empire, I think that was a heavy alternative rock scene.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to we have like different pieces of ourselves that as we grow up, maybe you can say as an analogy, we start as whole, and then these pieces sort of shatter or become sectioned off.
Yeah.
And sometimes forgotten about. So that was almost like a reclaiming or a return to an earlier state of being, like a part that I kind of moved on from, like, you know, I'm not supposed to be listening to this kind of music, but then just kind of like, no, this type of shit I love. So I'll be driving down the street on the way to the studio or just living life. Just you see me just windows down, just playing Pearl Jam loud, full blast. Like, I was just in that mode. This was in the process of making this album. So that mixed with all the R&B that I love, like I already mentioned, Stevie Wonder. Stevie Wonder. And without going too much into all my other like more contemporary influences, that sort of was the crossroads, a few of the crossroads that I found myself at. That's why I noticed when I get into this mode of really good music happening, I find myself at the crossroads of happenings, and maybe there's a part of where you and your environment sort of align. Yeah. And so those moments are very special.
Yeah, most definitely, man. Yeah, I think about when it comes to music and everything, especially rock music as well. Like, I mean, I have a crazy connection with it. I've talked about before, like Rage Against the Machine being my favorite rock band, and getting into like Red Hot Chili Peppers and, really just deep diving as well, and just having these various. It's funny. I was talking about Pandora with a friend the other night, as far as just like how that algorithm, like, to me, is still one of the best algorithms for like a streaming service, even though it's like a radio station or whatever. But I discovered so much music through that, where I feel like Spotify, it's kind of like, here's this song, and then like the same song you first listen to shows up like 7 songs later. I'm like, yeah, like what kind of shuffling is this? You know what I'm saying? But yeah, as far as like I feel like sometimes maybe. Like, and maybe I'll just like from my side, it's just like as like a black man and an artist. Like, I feel like sometimes, like, black people don't want to talk about music that influences them that's not black. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, oh no, we had to be over here. You know what I mean? Where it's just like, no, like, music is music. You know what I'm saying? Like, mad people get like influenced by mad stuff. Like, there's no shame in that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, and even on that point, even another way that Prince, I think, now that I'm speaking and remembering this moment. Listening to Prince kind of kind of warmed me up to getting back into that rock bag, because I saw that, rock and roll was black music. Because I was prior to that, during the pandemic, I was studying music more, and rock and roll was one of those two.
Yeah.
And
Country
like
music too.
songs.
Shit.
Country
everything.
music too.
Yeah.
There's that. Who's that country classic that's going crazy? Black man going crazy. I forget his name.
Oh shit.
Some Deucey or something. But the song is pretty great, man.
Yeah.
But it's you ever heard of the?
If you showed it to me, I probably would.
But I think he's about to be #1 country song right now. So shout out to him.
Nice.
But what was I gonna say?
As far as like the rock.
Yeah. So listening to songs like Raspberry Beret, like that's a song earlier in my Prince discovery, like in high school, I listened to, but it wouldn't be the one I play back.
Yeah.
It wasn't for me at that time, but I listened to it over the pandemic, and I was like, man, this song is genius.
Oh yeah.
This is like some honky tonk real rock and roll kind of thing. And even listening to Cream, that's when I was like, this is some like bitchin' rock music.
Yeah.
Yeah. And from there, I developed my own theories on rock and roll and its involvement with the black church.
Yeah.
Where, man, you can say all this beautiful music is coming from, and even when you see the modern day gospel music, how it's just the furthest edge in incorporating all of this advancements in music, and even throughout, popular music.
Yeah.
Its influence.
Yeah.
But it's a crazy thing. We can go on many tangents about popular music and recorded music, which is a very new phenomenon when you think about it. Like when we're living in this time, like some of our greats, not just our greats in music, but our greats and pioneers in recorded music, and even if not just recorded music, but its distribution. So this is a very different moment in time when, I don't know, it's like we're in the after shadow of that at this point. But to bring back from the tangent,
Yeah, no, yeah, man, no. As far as this, I definitely resonate with what you're saying, and I was watching a video on Instagram, like with Bad Brains. You know what I mean? Like it's like a, the crowd's like mainly white, like, but they're just like into it, like they're like into it. And obviously Bad Brains, for those who maybe don't know, it's a black punk band, you know what I'm saying? And they were getting down, and like people were like moshing and stuff, and just like really getting into the music, So it's just like, just as far as like the power of influence, it's just great.
It is different.
Definitely.
To me, I love seeing it. Even doing this project, I felt like, it was a reclamation of rock and roll music into what can be considered into black music.
Yeah.
And mind you, like, shoot. Western music is black music at this point. And, my parents came here, in the 70s, late 70s, early 80s. And who knows what I would have been up to if I was in Ethiopia. I don't know if I'm sure I'd have access to music, but in the way that I hear, like, just the music that was built by Africans in America.
Yeah.
I know there's debates on naming and nomenclature, but I'm just saying with the utmost respect and just, I just want to bring that glory. At that moment, I was really feeling this, like, this driven source of purpose to, like, bring this glory back to, like, the sea of black music. Let that river rock and roll go right back to the source, right back to it.
Yeah.
But man, even the name Return to Glory, like, even as I was saying, returning to earlier places where I was and kind of returning to that wholeness kind of sense.
Yeah.
There was a church across the street. It's a Korean church, Glory Church of Jesus Christ. So I like look out that window when I was in the cabana room or the Palms room, those rooms in that studio.
Yeah.
And I see that. I was wondering what I named the project, and I see this glory out the window. Glory, glory, glory. And when you think about it, man, I start thinking about glory as a concept.
Yeah.
And as a reason for doing things.
Yeah.
Or even just as a reward for doing things.
Yeah.
Beyond material rewards.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like money don't necessarily bring glory,
Right.
Maybe what I'm trying to say is that in my mind I'm romanticizing this kind of heroic kind of sense, like someone being driven by not just vain glory, which I realize is a word now, but like glory in vain, but like more of like, doing something good that's good, and then feeling that kind of sensation
Yeah.
Feeling that sensation of like that just being his just reward. So I'll tell you, after making this music and after I finish each song or get it to a place, even if the song wasn't done, let's say I felt like, well, we made it to the sea. That feeling was just glorious each time. Like I just felt like that was the reward, which might have been why it took me so long to put it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, there'd be times I'm not lying. Like it'd be like working on it all night, and it'd be like 5 o'clock in the morning, and I put on like a Prince recording of like a Prince live acoustic. His acoustic sets are phenomenal.
Oh yeah, they're beautiful. Very beautiful.
Cream, incredible. My friend Belvy's the one that put me on, and at the time I wasn't even hip to like what it was. So I'm like, okay, it's cool. But listening to it now, it's incredible.
Yeah. And
he had another one. I think it always. Sometimes it rains in April, and he does a melody of songs, and you know, he did Mary Mary, which unfortunately was just the intro, and I just wish I could hear the rest of Prince singing that.
Right.
And he does a few other ones. I wish I remember, but they were beautiful. But sometimes it rains in April.
Yeah.
Was another one that I wish I heard it in full. But these were the ones I listened to at the end, and like, man, one day I think it was after Think Like a Fish, or one of the songs, man, like little, it was just emotional. Like I just really felt. But that was really the driving of that project.
Yeah.
You know, so
that's fire. Yeah, I've also too. I remember you talking about just like doing like open mics and stuff and performing, and I was like, oh man, like that's really dope, you know. And sometimes I think there's definitely is I was having this conversation with some of my guys I met on Instagram that we do music together and stuff, and just talking about like the importance of like an open mic and how you can, you know, really utilize that resource in a positive light without like, you know, like I feel like some folks, you know, they'll use it like spread their music out there, also to connect with other artists, and then to improve on, maybe you tried something new because it's like, yeah, why not try it out with an open mic versus like, oh yeah, I'm gonna release this to everybody, you know, like makes a lot of sense. And then some people they may use it as like a clutch where it's like they know that the people around them are going to like it, but they're too afraid to expose beyond that. You know, obviously I would say you're like, you know, spreading out the music, performing and whatnot, you know, if you get a connection, fire, you know, but I just think it's really dope to take advantage of those opportunities. You know, I guess talk about, what was the last time that you did you did an open mic, in, LA? I know you had a spot you were.
Last time was June. And even before I get more details, which I love to, excellent open mic at the Radical Hood Library by the artist No Name. I'll get more into that in a second.
Okay.
That one has been pivotal for me as even my current development. But when I was making the project, all throughout my music, I was more of a studio bedroom musician, bedroom producer, and sort of live was something that was always a great source of anxiety. And but it occurred to me years in, as I was studying more music and getting better as a musician, that it's a silly thing. Like it'd be tough. How successful can my endeavors be if I'm afraid of, like a dentist afraid to do dental work? You know, like that's the thing that the dentist does.
Right.
And I know there's different positions, but I've always felt driven towards performing. That's what I wanted to get better at. During the process of Return to Glory, those musicians that would be going to open mics and stuff, I didn't play one, I didn't sing one, just too nervous. Like I felt so confident in the studio, but out there, not so much. And that kind of stuck with me. It was kind of gnawing at me a little bit. So maybe a reason why it took me so long to put out Return to Glory is I wanted to become a better performer. Like I felt like I needed to put these pieces together. Like I'm missing a whole category here, a performance here. So that's when I started going to the No Name open mic. But my friend, she told me about it, AJ. And I was too nervous to perform the first one. I performed at the second one, and man, I've been going there pretty consistently for a while from then on, and I just gotten a lot better, a lot calmer. And that's why I just hitting these open mics just to get better. Like I was pushing the music, but a lot of times I was just like 9 times out of 10. I think I maybe only when I did a feature there for the Return to Glory project, which was the reason why I hadn't focused on the Ethio jazz stuff, because the Saturday prior to that Sunday I said where I was just starting to listen to. That was when we had the event. I was selling honey wine and performing these songs. But I say that to say that was the only time I performed music that was recorded and released already. Prior to that, it'd always be songs that I'd never have the intention of recording. Yeah. Or just wanting it to just be that. Now I've softened up on that, but for the most part, it was I'm starting to see I compartmentalize these elements of music. Yeah. Like with recording its own thing. Then here I'm only doing performing stuff, not even stuff that I've recorded. Yeah. Maybe just trying to get these things together. Maybe I'm a perfectionist, but I say all that to say that it seems now that these pieces, I want to get a good foundation so it could all rise together. Yeah. And all these things kind of grow, you can get better as one goes, but that's why I really start performing, focusing on performance and musicianship beyond production and songwriting and making. But I feel like there's something I was getting to answer your question fully, but.
No, I mean, you were just cooking. I think one of the things that I find interesting, when you're making music, and I want to talk about your recording process today, especially, but before getting to that, just talking.
Can I say one more time?
Oh, please,
like
please.
How beautiful space No Name is, and it's something that it's also want to emphasize. It's a Black prioritized space. Fire. So it's meant for black people, and it's just something to be respected because I don't want to just say put it out there and then people trying to go like just if you go like people welcome, but it's a prioritized space, and just know that and what she's doing is amazing. Like they have a program where they ship books to prisoners every month. Oh wow! Or regularly. I'm sorry, I don't know the schedule, but regularly, and they're shipping out books to prisoners, having book clubs within prisons. All these black men and women that have been forgotten. Yeah. But she's doing a beautiful thing and having a book club, which I plan on participating in soon.
That's great.
But so I just want to emphasize that's just been a place where I've been able to grow so much, and I'm still growing, but that's been a place where I was really able to just focus on that. And I think new media, I don't want to butcher this, but I believe there was this Chicago open mic poetry slam where Chance the Rapper, No Name, John Doe was able to really to develop. And my imagining is they must have appreciated it so much that they brought it out here. That energy to be able to create an incubation space for people. Because I'll tell you, I just wanted to perform and get better at this thing. So I'm going to open mics. And I go to open mics where they were more, I won't even say their names, I only say the names of the good ones. Okay. But they were more predatory towards people that were just trying to come up and just try to do the same thing I was. Maybe they're also trying to get a connection, or maybe this will be the new big break. Yeah. I think that's what they take advantage of. But it'll be like $20 to get in, and you might perform.
Oh, yeah, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
That's bullshit.
It's bullshit, but I just really wanted to perform, so me and the homie Waju came too. Shout out. I don't think he would never do no shit like that, so he did that for me. Yeah. But fortunately, when we popped in, I was the first person they called, so God bless. Yeah, yeah. And Waju performed that night as well, I believe. Okay. But that was a predatory one. Never went to that again. There was other ones I went to. They're charging heavy at the door, and even if you get to perform, they're really just trying to sell a dream of so I say all that to say is what I really appreciate about what No Name has built is that it's a true space. Yeah. It's a true space without ulterior intentions, like it says. Right. And I think that's what we need to get back into as people and as humans, and is the direction that society and the city and the world built by man, I'll say, because we take that to be the world, and our behaviors are set by that. But you adapt to your environment. But we got to pull ourselves back to a truer way of being prior to that which man built. Yeah. And I think they're right on the money with that one. So
yeah. Yeah. No, I'm glad you brought that up, man. Yeah, because I feel like there's a lot of spaces like that. People talk about LA as far as, there's a beauty in it, and then there's a darkness to it as well, where you have certain spaces that really want to take advantage of of artists and like kind of weaponize that against them, you know, where it's like, this isn't even about the art anymore. You know, I mean, it's just about the money, you know, so it's nice to have spaces like No Names Open Mic, you know, that really welcome that and speak through that with, you know, Black voices and just having that space, you know, so I think that's a beautiful thing.
And I don't even I don't even know if it's not called No Names Open Mic. She's like removed her name. It's called like the Book Club Open Mic, something like that. I called it that first.
Oh, okay, yeah, no, thank you for defining what the name of it was. Appreciate that. What was I saying before? I think I was. I guess I can just jump to this. I wanted to talk about your recording process, since that's kind of changed since then. You know, I know we're talking about, you mentioned recording in general a little bit earlier, but you know, I found it interesting as far as, you know, how you record now is kind of different than how you record then, or just in some aspects, right? But I still find it really an interest to it, and I kind of want to get your philosophy on, you know, why you approach it that way, and kind of like what are some of the things that you felt maybe more freeing within like recording, or just kind of walk me through that.
Man, I guess one thing that comes to mind, I think Bruce Lee, and I think Krishnamurti also said something. I think he was inspired by him, but he said like the best way is no way, or just like his way was no way, something like that. And you know, that process of studio, first time I probably had thousands of dollars worth of studio time in there, 10,000, I don't know, something.
Yeah.
So now I'm back in my room again.
That sounds like a song name. Back in my room again.
So I was back there, and for a while it took me a minute to get back into making music again. I play a lot of video games. We both know this. Me and Jarrell, we bonded over video games and music probably equally. And there's this game, Metroid Prime. I played the remaster on Switch. I didn't play it when it came out, but one thing, you start off with all the powers, and then something happens to you, you get some type of thing. Then now you have to play the game, and you're limited, and you have to collect each one of them one by one. Then as that studio was closing down, I was like, man, I felt like Metroid. I had all the powers, all the plugins, all the equipment, drum set, everything. And now it's like, okay, well now, figure this shit out one by one. Go ahead, get you your pieces again.
Right.
But I think once I was able to move on, because I had to still mix and master the project, and I think at that time I was releasing another project. I wasn't even in recording mode at that time. It was good to have all this music, but now figure out how to release it. But to answer your question, these days it could be either on a computer or a phone. And even like, I'm not in the season of making music all the time, although I have when I get that thing and I make let's say I feel that sensation of taking the river to the sea to keep that going. It was on the phone, and I had produced on the phone prior. It was right before I got into to Knock House, that studio, that summer. Yeah. But I started doing that again, and what was cool is I was able to start a song. I'm at work, and then not even like forcing my way to make a song just for the sake of making a song. Yeah. But just like, okay, well, I have this little keyboard. I got some drums loaded in there. I got a sample that I like put in there, and then let me put some keys off this little keyboard, just a simple thing, and end up liking it, go home and record some bass to it, kind of thing. And what I really enjoyed was then I would take those songs and it'd be on my phone loaded up, and I was able to not just write while I'm driving around, which was very unsafe.
Yeah, you're like, oh man, let me see how this plays. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
This is perfect, yeah. Swerving, eating ice cream, writing music.
Need a little more compression. I'm like, nigga. Oh,
it was stupid. I probably wouldn't do that again, but that was actually a few months ago. This has been the latest wave. And but it was like I was, writing and then recording, like plugging up, having the right attachment, the plug-in put on your phone, a little dongle or whatever, and get a mic in there, and it'll be like I'd be able to just like the computer desktop music situation felt so much like a laboratory, like labbing up or whatever. It was like a laboratory. One thing about a laboratory is it's removed from reality, right? You remove reality because you want to get like clean results that's not like I'm talking in a scientific aspect.
Yeah, yeah.
Everything white lab coats everything. If anything's messed up, you see it. It's like a pristiner version of reality, so they can test an isolated part of reality to understand it more.
Yeah.
But some people would say the opposite, that you can't really do that to see true reality. Once you've taken it out of reality into this lab, it's changed it to a degree.
Yeah.
So to like be able to like just be in the living room, with the phone and just making this stuff, and I might be on the way to go somewhere real quick.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, I really want to record this verse real quick because I've been listening to it in my car with the first verse. I want to hear what it sounds like with the second verse. So record that real quick, but I had to go. It was like me and my friend were heading somewhere, and record it real quick, and I go, and that's still the take that I kept, and it was like, and I'd be listening to it like I really like this.
Yeah.
And it wasn't anything where it's like, okay, so I got the studio time section off me from life, and to the studio and time set aside directly towards this. So at this point, you got to have it ready to go, which wasn't necessarily a problem. It was what was exciting, but I think going back to that laboratory analogy, being able to just like live life and just really make it as you're moving through life was a different experience, which I think now that I'm talking about, I'm going to go further into, because that was my last little renaissance of just like music is fun, enjoyable, and I'm just like, so that's been the kind of the latest.
There's a beauty in that, right? There's a really interesting evolution to technology and music and how we record, and I think sometimes artists or maybe producers or just maybe the outside looking in, as far as like, no man, I gotta go to a studio, I gotta do this. It's like, you can, but you don't always have to, right? We talk about like Jacob Collier, where like he has like 3, if not more, Grammys, and half of the shit he did in his fucking bedroom, right?
Yeah, big inspiration.
Right, like Madlib. He's been using his iPad to make beats for the past 10 years, right? So it's just like we have so much technology and power and utilization, and I think what's his name?
Steve Lacy.
Steve Lacy, thank you. Yeah, like I think he did some of his shits on his phone, right? Like
he did.
Right. So it's just like we have these resources now more than ever to make really dope shit. And sometimes I think we feel like, oh no, I have to get that $3,000 rack mount, or I have to get this thing, or I got to give this guy some money for this because it won't sound good. It's like, no, that's not true at all. Like the listening, even though I don't recommend driving, is doing it. I was doing that shit too on my the hard drive mixtapes volume 3. I'm like, Jarrell, what are you doing, bro? Like pull over. But like there's a real interesting connection of doing that can help your music be better. Like, especially I was thinking about this as far as like just playing something and then having the air turned on, and then as you're driving you're hearing all of the noise around it, and I'm like, okay, if I can't hear my audio past the air, past the thing around me, I need to make the audio louder. And it actually helps.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So just like, it's almost like putting
That's
your
smart.
right? Like,
That's
thank
smart.
you. It's kind of like putting your music in a box and you're trying to identify the noise floor. It's like you're in the car, it's like you're not just hearing the speakers if it sounds good, but like how is the audio level, like I always just try to do stuff like that, but it's the point is like so much more creativity and ability that we can do stuff because the tech is there. Like even like recording this, like there's manual settings on the front facing of the camera and stuff like that. So it's just really interesting, man.
We're on the front facing camera. That's all surprised.
That's wild, right? Just changed, bro. Just changed, bro. And I don't want to have an amazing conversation and look, oh damn, I didn't record.
Yeah. No, it's better to see it, honestly, man.
Yeah. Another part of your recording
is crazy.
It's very crazy, bro. It's real crazy.
Even just to say like, music is music, and just like, can you create, like, storytelling is storytelling, whether it's visual or audio, and it's all, setting pieces along in time, and to create something that flows from A to B, right? And to be able to just, you don't need the best of the best. Now, honestly, who am I? I can't really tell no nothing, because like, from what place of authority am I speaking? But it's like, I guess for me, and I'll see, maybe I got to switch this up or something. But now quality is important, obviously, making it sound crispy, but needing to have here's the thing. If you feel like you need A, B, and C, like if you don't have no spoons and you need to stir your tea, are you just gonna let that honey sit at the bottom?
Speak on it.
You gonna grab a knife or a fork, or even use the back of it.
Yes,
right?
sir. Yes, sir.
You're gonna find it an appropriate tool in the moment to sufficiently get done what you're trying to get done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, man, stir that tea.
There you go, stir that tea, bro.
Yeah.
One of the last things I wanted to talk to you about, which I do find interesting as well, as far as just like really incorporating AI into art, right? So obviously there's
Shout out to Allen Iverson, man. Talking about practice.
There you go. This is a different type of practice. You know what I'm saying? Different type of practice. But it's I know there's a lot of controversy around different facets within art and how AI is incorporated. I know what's his name, Hiro Miyamada. I want to say it's his name. Miyazaki. He does like the a lot of those famous anime films.
Miyazaki?
Yeah. Thank you. And he's
I
like,
love him.
yeah, he was saying like,
Pause. I mean, he's one of my.
He's crazy. He's crazy.
No, he's an incredible filmmaker, man. Those
Yeah.
movies are so inspirational. From Kiki's Delivery Service when I was a little kid.
Yeah.
Not even
Spirited
knowing who
Away.
made it,
Well,
man.
yeah.
I just saw that one the other night.
Yeah.
Paid for it too.
Okay.
Paid for it.
Okay. Respect.
The Boy and the Heron.
Okay. Yeah.
A whimsical tale.
Nice.
Yeah.
But the reason why I bring dude up was because he was talking about how just pretty
Sorry
much.
for my immaturity, guys.
No, you're hilarious. You're hilarious. But the reason why I brought him up was because he's a heavy disdain, rightfully so, with different facets of AI using it for like animation and stuff. But I think when it comes to other facets, when it comes to say like using it for music or whatever, album cover art, like there is a certain interest in I don't think it's all bad, basically, is my point. And then I wanted to kind of speak to you as far as like how you incorporate AI within your music, and like I guess as far like how do you utilize it where it's like, okay, this doesn't have to be like this scary Skynet Terminator thing that's going to kill us all. Like, we can use this for good, or use it for part of creativity
Until it kills us all, maybe.
But
these hits before you end it all. So.
Right. But yeah, I mean, speak on that for a little bit as far as just kind of like how do you like kind of like incorporate some of that stuff for your music.
Yeah, as soon as I started like experimenting with AI and saw what it could do, from even just engaging with it, was like philosophically.
Yeah.
Learning about history, and of course cross-checking because it can make stuff up. But
Sure.
I had it like it made a website for me, like, and I was like a project manager, but I couldn't code, but I had to do all that.
Okay.
And even just figuring out how to even upload a website and all that. It would tell me it would tell me what program to use to compile the code. I would tell it what I want, and it would do it. And it would mess up a whole lot, and I think I asked it to do a lot. But the corrections and everything, it was just, my mind was blown. And I saw what it could do with images and with video, and now with music, is crazy. Like, we definitely are living in modern times now. Like, the future is modern, But the way I look at it is, I think even my appreciation for organic art or human driven art, is like, that's become a genre, and maybe even like if you see something that's like hand drawn, hand claymation, like when you look at AI, it looks like AI. Like, it's, and of course these things will get better, but the human eye, like, I think you start to see like something about this seems a little like its own genre, like its own like style of doing things, and even that is incredible when you see some AI driven art, and it's like, this is crazy. What are we doing now? Just things that prior to technology would not have been possible, right? But when you look at like some hand-drawn anime, something beautiful, and even when you see like a particular art style, like, oh man, this looks like it was made by a human. Like, I don't think AI could have done this. Like, I think that's made that more special. Now, what it does, like, I know it's different. it's gonna change it's changing things up, and I won't paint it as good or bad, because it's, you know, when I talk to certain people in certain industries about it, that's a little more of a somber tone. So I'm not saying that this is a celebration and everybody drink the punch, drink the Kool-Aid. But when I was listening to some of these music AI generated sources, I was listening to some of these creations, and not just like getting like Tupac to rap over something, or Michael Jackson to Baby Michael to sing Baby Be Mine, an adult Michael Jackson song, which blew my mind. It sounded beautiful too. But that was kind of early stage AI music for me when I was becoming aware of it. And now you're seeing stuff that's like made in these things, and it's like, man, first time I heard it, it's like you could have some kid, 12-year-old in the Midwest, never picked up an instrument in their life, and they are cooking with these tools. So it's like, I'm done. So at that point, it's like, shoot, make some stuff with it, like and I'll just, you know, it can be something that can be incorporated, like it's a new tool. Like you telling me, I don't know, painters must have been mad when the printer came out. That's probably a bad example. I just imagine.
What you mean you can just press print in the shit?
You know how long I studied this shit?
All those poisonous chemicals? That's crazy.
My fucking ear, man.
It's Sistine Chapel.
I don't have an ear anymore, man. I bleed for this shit, and you got a printer.
That's hilarious.
No, that stuff is crazy, but to be able to use these tools, like taking advantage of things that are available in the time that you're living, and I think truth always has a way of speaking through these things. One concept I like, transcendence, like it's not about like not like when it comes to like, let's say like the Matrix or the system, you know, when I would associate this term, like it's not about like trying to get from point A to point B. It's not about, you know, working totally in the system. It's not about going totally outside against the system, but transcending the system. And that may mean sometimes, like, you know, I'm trying to come up with a good example using the Buddha, but I don't think that one worked. So I'll save myself. But it's like imagine if the Buddha put out a rock album. Or he probably put it out through all the channels of music that's already laid down. Like the music industry is full and rot with all types of everything that we've seen, especially coming to light these days. But it built this infrastructure. And so what I am saying that is that to go totally outside of the system would mean to not utilize this infrastructure and maybe going grassroots, passing out records and really touching people, hopping in your van, going everywhere you can, which sounds like a great experience. But you know, transcending the system by utilizing some of these means within it, and not becoming it or using it totally, and suffocating the truth within you. But so I even forgot why I brought this up. Technology and AI and stuff. So
utilizing those resources.
So it's like transcending. So that may mean not using it for certain things and having a human driven artwork or visual, like this is all visuals made by shot real stuff. That's a bar in and of itself, especially that's going to become more of a bar as time goes on. But it's but again, it's like Pandora's box, isn't it? Like because I say it also with the, you know, heavy heart, because it's like, you know, it's affecting the film industry, and I know people are worried about jobs, and but man, it's crazy. We can go into this whole system where we gotta, I mean, you've always had to work to live and survive, right? That's existence, right? But before, it's like, okay, what do you need to survive? Food, water, shelter, you know what I mean? And there's, you know, if we go to Maslow's hierarchy of need, it goes up, you know, friendships, bonds, family, and purpose, and things like this. But you know, when it comes down to like what we need to survive, it's when I get somewhere good, I lose my train of thought.
Damn, man.
But when it comes to these things for survival, I mean, it's just like you know, I mean, you would just need, like I said, food, water, and these things. But now, what it means to survive and live, like, it's nothing that has to do with the toil of the soil.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It has to do with everything that just has to do with the reality made by man-made reality.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know, when I'm getting somewhere good, it's usually it comes in and out. But you know,
I feel you.
transcending this man-made reality somewhere. I'll get there. I'll get there.
Yeah, man. Well, hey, I guess one of the last things, man. You know, tell me any. I get for your fans, you know, anything that they can look forward to as far as in the next upcoming, you know, weeks, months, or whatever.
Sure.
That you want to shout out.
October 17th, there's another Honey Baby. Where the Jim and Jazz Quartet, me and the guys, we're going to be getting up there doing some songs, playing some music. It's going to be a great time. The tickets are available. You know, I wasn't prepared to say all this. Maybe can we put this in the description?
Put in the description.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then getting ready to put out a new song in November, first week in November. It's going to be a song that I made while driving, while driving, and
That's an EP right there.
yeah. Songs made while driving on my phone. Yeah. So that one I'm really excited about.
Music making under the influence.
Yeah. So, but we made it, and I realized how dumb of an idea that was. So don't. I'm not gonna do it again. So don't. You don't have to tell me. But yeah, that was a good one. Right now, as far as music, Return to Glory was a great. You know, alternative rock and kind of incorporating that with the different music that I loved. But now just going back to my musical home was just straight kind of like we getting into the groove.
Yeah.
So that's where it's at, and that's where it's gonna be. So
There you go.
yeah, shout out to this whole thing. Appreciate you, Jarrell. For having me. This is a beautiful thing.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you for being on the show, bro.
Yeah. And man, I wish I remember my point, man.
I'll be back. I'll be
Part
back.
two.
I'll be back in the future. Back in the future.
I bound to what's in my headphones. Chill at night, lay back to this goes. Set my mind on cruise control. Music revolves around my mind like it's an access. Sometimes I'm like Miss Hill.